going on, guys? Hello, howdy, howdy, all of the hellos. We are here live. Texas Football Today is live. And I am proudly joined with, once again, your very own Carter Yates.
One more time, baby. Back again, but with a different haircut. VNA, what did you think of my haircut when I walked in today?
I thought it was short. But it looks great. Short. I always try and notice everyone's haircut and if they shave or whatever. But I always try and notice that. And I saw Carter today. I was like, looks great. Looks awesome.
Yeah, they brought out the buzzers to shave the back of my head, which I haven't seen in a long time. And I said, like, I don't know about the buzzers. I usually get scissor cut. She said, I'm using the buzzers. I said, okay, you know best. I'll trust you. Not always the smartest thing of me to do, though, because I normally go to whatever barbershop's closest to me. I don't have a preferred stylist. I just play luck of the draw because I'm an adrenaline junkie like that.
Wait, so you go to a different person every single time?
Mm-hmm. First available.
Usually people, especially with, might I say, Carter is known for having a very nice flow in our hair. And that's kind of shocking that, I feel like you would go to someone, the same person every time.
Sometimes it may be good. Sometimes it may be not so good. Can I tell you about a time where it was the worst, my worst haircut ever?
Let us know.
So this was in college going into sophomore year. I grew my hair out extremely long in college after I was done playing football and didn't have my coach telling me to get it high and tight above the ears.
I think we have a visual.
Yeah, can we get a visual up of what it looked like?
There you go.
So I walked into my nearest men's only barbershop with basically women's length hair. And I could tell immediately when I asked for a trim that this woman did not have the eye of the tiger. She didn't know what to do with all this lettuce that I had right there.
It's very long. How old were you there?
20.
20. Okay.
As I'm sitting in the chair, you never want to judge when it's halfway through, but I'm like, this is looking really bad. Like, I don't think this is going very well. She does not seem confident. Well, when it was done, this is what it looked like.
There we go.
Basically got the Ellen DeGeneres cut. And I came home and my mom saw me, instantly did the put hands over her mouth type deal. And
she saw the long hair and she did what she could with the long hair.
Well, and it was a situation where I should have said something at the barbershop, but as you saw before last night when they took out the buzzers and I just accepted it, I don't always stand up for myself.
I think we have another angle. Oh gosh.
Yeah, it was pretty harsh.
That's next level right there.
So my mom dragged me. I got my mom's car. She drove me back to the hair salon. The woman was still there who had cut my hair, and my mom. I basically sat like.
Oh no.
Putting my foot in a circle, hands behind my back, eyes down, while my mom said, he needs another haircut right now.
Fix him.
Again, I was 20 years old.
Wow. So did we kind of get what you have now? Like that kind of short hair?
Yeah, a little bit. And then I had to start all back over. Because when you get a haircut like that, you got to start from scratch. You can't just... It's a full reset.
You've never buzzed it though, right? Have you ever buzzed it?
Well, yes. When I was in third grade, I had a number one cut all over and blonde hair. So was basically bald for 2 years. I've had every hairstyle in the book.
I know. Carter and I have known each other for a while now, and in our conversations, I feel like you've been given also nicknames, like maybe Frat Jesus at all?
That was a nickname. I mean, did you see that lettuce? That was a nickname floating around.
Let's go back. Let's see this. Yeah, that's long.
Yep. So that's my worst haircut story. I'm glad that my haircut last night didn't turn out like that. I definitely rolled the dice because I'm hosting Texas Football Today one more time. Let's get the show on the road. Roll it.
Let's do it.
Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's mothership in beautiful Louisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, your favorite mediocre internet show. I am your host, Carter Yates. Making me sound all nice and purdy is our producer, Vianney Moreno. Vianney, how we doing?
Hello. How's it going?
It's going very good. Thank you so much for supporting us, whether you're listening live on YouTube or anywhere you get your podcasts. But who's live on YouTube right now? Do we have a first four through the door?
We
Vianney?
do not.
We don't. Not a highly anticipated show.
But they'll come. They'll start rolling. They'll start rolling in here in a little bit. Promise.
The one time I didn't ask Monday when we did that first.
And we did. Yeah, I was gonna say that, but we don't. Not this time. But they'll start coming in.
Well, with that being said, let's go over to some headlines in the Lone Star State, both in Texas high school football and Texas college football. I'm going to start off down in Edna, where head coach Jimmy Mitchell has been reassigned by the Edna ISD school board back in February. His contract was non-renewed after 3 straight semifinal appearances in the playoffs. Last year, they went 14-1, which tied the single-season best records since 1965 and 1991. Then in February, as we mentioned, Edna ISD votes to not renew his contract. After he is non-renewed, Jimmy Mitchell requests reassignment, and Edna just granted that this week, as reported by Matt Stepp. Stepp also reports that Mitchell is not done coaching and is actively seeking another job. I think he's going to be a coach in hot commodity. He's 38-6 over his last 3 years, 3 straight state semifinal appearances. I believe he was also on the 1990 or 2001 coaching staff, where Edna got to the state title game and lost that one. So Jimmy Mitchell, a longtime Texas high school football coaching veteran. He's moved at multiple stops, including Manor, I know, and he should be back on the market here pretty soon. In other news that broke late Monday night after we were done recording, Dallas Wilson is back open. It was reported last week that DeSoto longtime assistant head coach, defensive coordinator Paul Beatty had taken the Dallas Woodrow Wilson head coaching job. But then this Monday, the principal at Woodrow Wilson texted the coaching staff and said, hey, Beatty's not going to be around at the football workouts this week. And then it came out later on Monday night that he'd be leaving the position for a personal family matter. So for Woodrow Wilson, their timeline, the decision on a new head coach will be made April 4th. And it's unclear if Beatty is going to return to DeSoto or not. His status is up in the air, but Woodrow Wilson has reopened their coaching search, reaching back out to coaching candidates, and it will be announced on April 4th. That is, again, per Matt Stepp. Both of these high school coaching news were broken by Matt Stepp. You can find all his writing on TexasFootball.com. He is all over the coaching search carousel. As we are now out of spring break, there are still late-breaking high school jobs coming open, so keep it locked in on TexasFootball.com with Matt Stepp for all of that. On the college side, the University of Baylor University, has hired a general manager and an assistant general manager. Aaron Hunt, Texas Tech's all-time leading sacker. He's been with Baylor since 2021 as a recruiting and personnel assistant. They have now made him a GM, the first ever GM at Baylor. And Anthony Morrow, who is now the assistant GM, he was at Georgia as a player personnel coordinator last year. We have seen in college football in general, general managers becoming a big prevalent position as the college football gets more NFL style. It's very interesting to note about these positions that sometimes, and I'm not saying this is happening at Baylor, they are given top-down control of the football program, like we saw with Stanford GM Andrew Luck, the former Heisman Trophy finalist, NFL first overall pick. We saw how he fired Stanford's head coach Troy Taylor after there was multiple investigations into mistreatment of workers within the staff. And that was an Andrew Luck decision as GM. That was not an athletic director. So again, I'm not saying this general manager has all the top-down control at Baylor, but you're starting to see as college football money starts flowing into the game, they're starting to get general managers, which is more of an NFL-style model. It's just something to keep watch of at all of these colleges that are going to start having general managers here pretty soon. What does it look like between the athletic director and the general manager, the delineation of responsibilities? That news was broken by CBS Sports. VNA, that'll do it for our headlines.
I like it.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
After spring break, we still got news rolling all in about the coaching carousel. So that'll do it for our Lone Star State headlines. And now we have a very special guest joining the podcast here. Coming up after the break, it is Ganado head coach and state champion Josh Ervin. I'm excited to talk to him all about the longest UIL state title game in UIL history, Ganado's first ever state championship, him being only 30 years old and winning a state championship. Been a guy I've been really excited to talk to, so that conversation's coming up after a word from these advertisers.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, even at home. We provide compassionate, caring support virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here.
30-yard line, the 20, the 10. Touchdown!
Hey DFW residents, get your grocery essentials in minutes, not hours or days, with Wing Drone Delivery. Forget about last-minute trips to the store when you need things like cereal for breakfast before school, medicine for a cold, or snacks for a movie night. Wing's drones get you quick, no-contact delivery in as fast as 15 minutes. Say goodbye to last-minute grocery runs and say hello to more of your valuable time. Sign up today.
Joined out here by Hayden Gunner at Denton High School. Man, it's a big day for you. You got your decision coming right now.
After a lot of thinking with the family, talking, stressing out.
Let's see exactly where Malik Hawkins is going to be heading.
First off, I want to start by thanking God. Without him, I wouldn't be anything. I wouldn't be blessed with all these opportunities.
He's got 5 schools he's choosing between. We're about to find out who it's going to be. Got your teammates, coaches, family, friends surrounding you, so you couldn't have a bigger stage right here to announce it on. So without further ado, we're going to go to the man right here, Kobe Foreman. Who's it going to be?
I will be attending.
I'll be committed to the University of Oklahoma.
University of Texas A&M.
Stand for university.
The University of Oklahoma.
Every legend starts with a vision. For Dave Campbell, that vision was clear. Tell the story of Texas football like never before. In 1960, he built something no one had before, a magazine that became the Bible of Texas football. Coaches, players, and fans didn't just read it, they lived by it. His words shaped the game. His vision built a legacy. And his name? It will always be written in the story of Texas football. Dave Campbell's Texas Football, where legends begin.
Welcome back into Texas Football Today. I am your host, Carter Yates, and joining me on the coach's hotline is Ganado head coach Josh Ervin, the head coach of the state champion Ganado Indians. Coach, does that ever get old hearing yourself introduced like that, state champion?
I don't know. It's still it's just blessed to have that the opportunity that people say that.
Well, it was one of the best games of the entire weekend, one of the best state championship games ever, 30-28 in triple overtime against Stanford. It was the longest state championship game in UIL history. Did it feel that long to you when you were coaching it? I mean, take us down on the sidelines. Like, what was it like playing in a game like that?
Yeah, it was, man, crazy. What a blessing and a great opportunity for the kids. So excited they were able to have the opportunity to go play in AT&T Stadium. And the first half I thought went by pretty quick, but that second half, I don't know, it went quicker than I guess when you watch the replay on TV. But what a great game it was. A moment that we'll remember forever. The kids will remember forever, and it was a great day.
Now, before that game, I sat with Ed Kosser, who had a barbershop in Ganado. He's been a fan since the 1950s, and he's got photos of every Ganado State playoff team on that wall in the barbershop. And he was kind of just like the figurehead of a fan base that is so passionate about Ganado football. I mean, how have you all celebrated in Ganado after that state championship? What was the community support been like?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so that's one of the things I think that makes Ganado so special. Being a small town, the community kind of they come together and it revolves a little bit around the youth, athletics, the band program here. But after we won the state championship, I mean, it was pretty cool. We had a police escort picked us up a few counties over, and they carried it through 2 or 3 counties until we got back to Ganado that night. The fans were here at the stadium to meet us when we got back. They had a parade a few weeks later, and it's just really cool to see everyone come together and rally around the awesome season that these kids had.
Now, I know Ganado had to wait a long time for a state championship, but you didn't have to wait that long, winning your first one at 30 years old. I mean, what about your upbringing allowed you to accomplish this at such a young age?
I think the biggest thing, I guess, when I think back and just reflect on all of it, is I've been blessed that I've been able to learn from really good people, whether that's learning really valuable lessons from my parents growing up, and then the teachers and coaches I had when I was in school, and then going off into college, same situation. And then I was blessed to start my career at Bay City under Coach Flores and Coach Bennett, who brought me to Ganado. What a great community we have here. We have great administration that supports athletics and everything for these kids. And then maybe the most important thing, though, is we have great kids here in Ganado, and great assistant coaches. And I think when you have all that and you put it together, really good kids, really good administration, really good assistant coaches, you can do special things.
Yeah, I mean, you're a Bay City guy, and I talked to Coach Brennan before, and he said you thought you were going to stay at Bay City. You're a graduate of there. You coached there. You got your start under Coach Brennan. And once you got to Ganado, you didn't know how long you were going to be there. Now you've got a wife and kids, and you're raising a family in Ganado. Like, how has that community opened its arms up to you?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's the crazy part is in life, you just don't know what's going to happen, right? Mm-hmm. And I thought I'd be in Bay City forever, and when I got here, I said 2 years, and it's time to pack it up and leave, because I just didn't know how I would fit in a place like this. But I fell in love within the first year with the kids, how hard working they are, and the community. And then obviously, like you talked about, I got married and stuff, but I think being a small community and everyone's really tight knit, it's a great place to raise a family. I'm blessed to be in a situation like this right now.
So I know Dave Campbell's ranked y'all number 1 last year in the preseason. You go wire to wire as the number 1 team. How were y'all able to do that? And does that give you confidence for next year, knowing that, hey, we've handled success and public praise before and went out and did our job?
It definitely is the first time since we've been here that Ganado's been preseason ranked number 1, and there was a lot of talk before the season, and we were just ready to get the season started last year. But I think a big part of the future is finally being able to make a state championship, and obviously not only that, but being able to win it. but just showing the future generations of kids to come through Ganado that, hey, it's happened once, it can happen again. And I feel like the kids have been working that much harder this off season, the younger ones coming up, because they see what it's like. And I think they're excited for the future. I'm excited for the future. I think Ganado has a really bright future.
And Coach, what's getting you so excited for the future? I got to go full disclosure here. We ranked y'all number 1 preseason last year, but I did a ranking of the most likely state champions to repeat. We put y'all at number 7 just because you lose a lot from that state championship team. But I know you're super excited about the future. Who are some of those guys that have really shown you something this offseason or even in the season, they're going to be contributors next year?
Yes, sir. So our running back, number 2, Logan Burrish. He was only a sophomore. He'll be back. He's done some really special things already, and he's only going to keep getting better. We return number 7, receiver Austin Pena. Just a great kid. He ran great yesterday at the track meet. We had our first day of the district track meet, and so I know he's going to have a great senior season next year. Our next quarterback, he's a freshman right now. He actually got to play the first 3 games of the season due to an injury from our quarterback last year. And so just the way he started the season, I thought he got better every single week and played really well for a freshman getting thrown in. And so we're excited to see how he continues to progress. And then we had a really good 8th grade group last year. They went undefeated and just a good all-around group of kids, and them coming in as freshmen next year. I'm excited to see how some of them do. But I think we have a really good group. They're going to be young. And I think that's, I don't know, part of what excites me is you get to see a new group of kids and kind of how they progress and improve throughout the season. And so we'll see what happens, but we're excited.
And Josh, we're excited to watch Ganado next year too. Josh Ervin, Ganado head coach, a name Texas high school football fans are plenty familiar with right now, but they're going to do great things at Ganado in the upcoming years too. Josh, thank you so much for joining us on Texas Football Today.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a great day.
There he goes. Josh Ervin, Ganado head coach, the new state champions in Class 2A. VNA, I think we got to bring another guest on this show. I'm thinking Director of Recruiting, Greg Powers.
We really do. We can't have a show without him.
Cannot have a show without him. Fair warning, this segment was filmed yesterday before I got my hair cut, so it's going to be a lot longer hair and a different shirt. We are taking a look at looking back at the 2015 Whataburger Super Team, and Powers got some great recruiting stories from those guys, who he thought the best high school players were, guys who did a lot better in the pros than he thought they would maybe do when he saw them in high school. So really fun conversation with Greg Powers, our Director of Recruiting, coming up right now. Hello and welcome back into Texas Football Today. I'm here joined with DCTF Director of Recruiting, Greg Powers. We're going to do a little bit of revisiting on the 10-year anniversary of the Whataburger Super Team. So peeking back into the 2015 magazine, looking at the offensive side of the ball, when you first cracked this bad boy open, what was your thoughts about the Whataburger Super Team from 2015?
You know what? I didn't have anything to do with this super team. But it's pretty stinking good.
Yeah.
I think it's really solid. I mean, the first thing that jumps out at me is that Jalen Hurts was the super team selection at quarterback. Obviously, that was the right call. Shane Buechele was number 2 on the second team offense, and Bowman Sells was on the third team offense. I think looking back, having Jalen Hurts be the super team representative in this magazine is like a big win.
Yeah, so for offensive accolades for all 36 people, first through third team, got 6 NFL draft picks. Jalen Hurts off the top, Brandon Stevens from Plano, Caden Smith from Flower Mound Marcus, Greg Little from Allen, Travion Williams and Devin Duvernay down on the third team there, rounding out the NFL draft picks, 8 all-conference picks. Jalen Hurts at Alabama and Oklahoma, Shane Buechele at SMU, he also played at Texas, Zach Shackelford, who started 40 career games at Texas, Braxton Webb at Angelo State, De'Aaron King at Houston, who was an all-time juice player, Travion Williams again at Texas A&M, Devin Duvernay, Texas, Kellen Deesh, Arizona State, and Travis Bruffy, at Texas Tech. You've got 2 Pro Bowlers, Jalen Hurts and Devin Duvernay, and 1 Super Bowl MVP in Jalen Hurts. Powers, who was the best player in high school on this list? I know Jalen Hurts has had the best career. Who was the best high school player?
Well, Greg Little was the number 1 rated player in this class, regardless of position. He was the top dog. And I think I would probably go back through this list and bring Jalen Hurts up quite a bit. He was the number 1 quarterback in this class, but he was way down. I mean, he was outside of the top 30, I believe, as far as overall prospect ranking in this cycle. This was before the big trend of players that play quarterback definitely getting drafted at the top of every draft. Like, it was like a pretty common thing, but defensive ends were trending pretty well at that time. Offensive tackles were trending at that time. So I think quarterback value has certainly risen if you're ranking these players specifically towards the NFL draft, so Hurts would go up.
I'm just shocked to see Hurts smiling in his picture.
Yeah.
He hasn't done that since high school.
Well, he wasn't a smiley dude in high school either. Like, he was the Jalen Hurts that you see on TV and stuff now. That was very much like the Jalen Hurts that you were covering back at Channelview High School. He took everything seriously. He was a next-level athlete, QB MVP at their camp back then. And I think he won that MVP because, like, every rep he took felt like he was honestly competing for the Super Bowl. Like, every throw, everything he did, he paid attention to. So that was pretty fun. Another guy that Caden Smith had a full beard when he was a freshman in high school.
That's why he's a varsity player as a freshman.
I remember going with Aaron Hardigan to watch Flower Mound Marcus play in AT&T Stadium back during his freshman year. And it was like a first or second round playoff game because back in the day, they used to do, 3 or 4 games a weekend at AT&T Stadium during the playoffs. And seeing Caden Smith before the game and like he took his helmet off and his beard was like completely grown in, like he had the underneath neck beard and stuff already. And Hardigan and I just remember this. We just laughed so hard about that. And I actually made the joke at that time that I would never be able to grow a beard as manly as Caden Smith had when he was a freshman. Still true to this very day. Caden Smith's freshman beard totally just destroys what I can do now.
Yeah, I wonder what it looks like now. It's got to be like down to his chest or something like that. Who's got your favorite recruiting story from this list?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. Brandon Stevens probably, I think, has the best big picture story, right? Because he was recruited as a running back out of high school, and now he's getting paid millions to play defensive back in the league. So I think that's a pretty cool story because after running back didn't work out, he had to go back and learn a new craft, and he turned himself into an elite player at a different position, which kind of speaks, to the ability to never give up on yourself or the want to never give up on yourself and what it could turn into. Brandon Stevens has a true success story.
I know Jalen Hurts has the best career. Brandon Stevens now making a bunch of money in the NFL. Who's a guy on this list that's career turned out better than you thought it was going to turn out? Like, who rose? I know they're on the Whataburger super team, and they're obviously one of the best in Texas, but who turned out even better than maybe you thought?
I would probably say Kellen Deesh on this list, just looking like first through third is one of those guys who played a little bit better. I remember rating him a 3-star coming out of Byron Nelson. They had a pretty talented class that year. But he was a big dude. I just didn't know that he was going to be an all-conference caliber player once he arrived on the college scene. Overplayed their expectations outside of that. De'Aaron King, I would say.
Because he's utility guy, second team offense right there. And he was a program legend at Houston.
Yeah, De'Aaron King is probably another good pick because you could have put me into the category. I would have rated De'Aaron King as an athlete coming out, right? And he's obviously proved to be a tremendous quarterback. Not only could play quarterback at a high level, but now he's a quarterback coach. So he knows the X's and O's of the game and is a true high football IQ dude. He was so fun to watch in high school, though, running the rock. I thought, he's going to end up playing in the slot or something at college. He definitely proved me wrong.
All right, that's all I got for the offense. You want to go flip over to the defensive side now?
Let's do it. This is kind of fun.
Yeah, it is
thinking
good.
about some of these old school guys. I guess they're old school guys to some of our fans, but for guys like me, it's not old school. This just seems like yesterday.
Going down memory lane a little bit here. It's amazing that this is already a 10-year anniversary of some of these guys playing. So defensive side, 5 NFL draft picks.
What a fun list this is.
Ed Oliver, first 5-star to ever go to Houston. Justin Madubuike, who now goes by Nnamdi Madubuike. He's on the Baltimore Ravens, went to Texas A&M. Jordan Elliott, Brandon Jones at Texas, Jonathan Marshall. Those are your 5 draft picks. 8 all-conference players. Okay. Ed Oliver, Madubuike, Jordan Elliott, Patty Fisher at Northwestern for 4 years. Freak show linebacker from Katy on the 2015 Katy defense, probably the best of all time. Brandon Jones, Jonathan Marshall, Trey Baldwin, Isaiah Chambers, who was a Southland Conference Defensive Player of the Year. That wraps it up there. So, same list going on here. Who was the best high school player?
Oh, Ed Oliver.
Okay, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Can you describe what Ed Oliver was like in high school? He's still in the league right now, a Pro Bowl player. What's this guy like in high school?
First off, I'm looking through this list right now, and I have to say, none of these photos, this is before my time at Dave. I took this Ed Oliver photo, I'm telling you. That's my Ed Oliver headshot in the Dave Campbell's mag. I remember where I was when I was taking. But still, he's the quickest I've ever seen off the ball, by far. Mm-hmm. And it's been like that from day one. He was a dominant force. And there are a lot of dudes on this list who I'm going to be really proud of as I talk about him, because Ed Oliver – back in the Scout.com days, Ed Oliver was made a 4-star on Scout.com before anywhere, 5-star on Scout.com before anywhere else. And we had him as the number 2 player in the state, rated within the top 10 nationally because his tape. I don't remember watching another. Andrew Billings' tape was pretty good down in Waco, but I don't remember watching another defensive tape outside of Ed Oliver, Myles Garrett, and seeing Jadavian Clowney in person. Those are the 3 biggest freak shows I've watched on tape or seen in person probably in my scouting career.
Ed Oliver also has, spoiler alert, the best career that turned out of any of these guys.
Outland Trophy winner.
2-time All-American. Then goes on to be, he's AAC Defensive Player of the Year. I believe he's a first-round draft pick, top 10 overall. It's got to be one of the more successful super teamers that we've had in this magazine.
Was he on the gatefold? Was that the year that he was on the gatefold? It was the year. Oh no, it was when he was at Houston that he made it on the gatefold.
Yes, he made it on the future cover athlete. Who's, again, same question. Who's a guy that maybe even did better than you expected? Again, tough question. They're on the super team. They're the best in Texas, but even went over that.
Well, first I'm going to shout out Justin Madubuike at McKinney North. I'm pretty sure that DCTF, now that we've carried over all these rankings, only service to have him rated as a 5-star. He's having a pretty solid NFL career. Was a tremendous player in college and lived up to that 5-star billing. So I do want to give a little bit of a shout out to that ranking, just because it was one that worked out. Kind of overplayed is definitely going to be Patty Fisher, right? He was a freak show at Northwestern, one of the best players in the conference. Every season that he was there, just so instinctual, had a nose for the football, and another 3-star guy who has turned out to be an excellent player in college, a guy who's went on to play in the league, and somebody that I feel like Texas high school football recruits can look up to now and say, even if I'm not a 4-star or 5-star rated within the top 50, I can be the guy.
Yep.
Right? You don't have to be a 4 or 5-star guy. There's only 50 of them. You can be a 3-star guy like Patty Fisher and attain everything that you wanted in football.
Any fun recruiting stories out of these guys that you can remember?
This was just a fun group in general. I will go back to Brandon Jones. I think Brandon Jones had a really cool recruiting story because he went all the way till National Signing Day without making his decision. And back at that time, we named a recruiter of the year in the region, in the Big 12. Mm-hmm. And whenever we went to sleep the night before National Signing Day, there were 2 dudes in the mix to be the Big 12 recruiter of the year for this class. One was Kendall Briles at Baylor, and the other was Jeff Traylor at Texas. Mm-hmm. And when I went to sleep on National Signing Day Eve, I went to bed with this thought in mind. If Texas lands Brandon Jones, then Jeff Traylor is the recruiter of the year in the Big 12. And Texas, of course, did land Brandon Jones. Jeff Traylor was named the Big 12 recruiter of the year, and I feel like put together one of the best classes in Texas history, or helped orchestrate one of the best classes in Texas history. And of course, you've seen his career trajectory in college football since that time has been, he's been a rising star in the profession. And just thinking about back to that time, how hard he worked on the recruiting trail and how much effort that he put into helping his team succeed and recruiting guys like Brandon Jones. It's cool to see him now be a head coach.
Is there anyone on either, I forgot to ask this for offense, either offense or defense, that freak show in high school, really awesome player, and just for whatever reason you thought they were going to the NFL and they didn't go to the NFL?
You're doing me dirty on this, man. I feel like you've done me dirty here. Because I've talked about this guy in the office. One of my biggest all-time recruiting rankings misses was on this list, and that's Kendall Hulk Jones from Killeen Shoemaker, listed here, 6'5", 355 pounds. I want to say he graduated closer to 400. And signed with Alabama, but didn't really have that much of a career. He was a DCTF 5-star. So for those wins that you put in the win column for the Justin Matabikes of the world, sometimes you have to put a tally in the loss column for your rankings as well.
Pulling all the skeletons out of our closet, but you know what? This skeleton was 6'5", 355.
Yeah, he was a big boy. Yeah, he was a big boy.
Yeah, so I'd seen some pictures of him back in high school. I would have named him a 5-star as well. Well, Powers, thanks for joining on, taking a trip down memory lane about the 2015 Super Team. We got Pro Bowlers, Super Bowl champions. A lot of guys went on to do some really cool things. So it's cool to check back in with them and see what they were like back in high school.
Texas high school's pretty legit, right? You play football here, you can make it.
Powers, thank you for joining us today on Texas Football Today. For V&A Moreno, our producer, I am your temporary host, Carter Yates, signing off. We will see you next Monday. Thank you for tuning in.